I, a 26-year-old woman, and my husband William, age 29, shared a bond built over nearly 5 years of marriage, founded on mutual respect and deep affection. We first crossed paths at the office where I was office manager, and he, with his greater experience, became a supportive figure in my professional life. William was aware of my challenging upbringing with parents who struggled with addiction, leading me to work multiple jobs and strive relentlessly for a better life. After moving out for college, I severed ties with my parents and frequently changed my contact details to maintain my distance from them. William's kindness was evident from the start. He was always considerate, noticing even the minor details like the small holes in my shirt and discreetly replacing it to spare me any potential embarrassment at work. He understood my frugal habits, which stemmed from a childhood marked by scarcity, and would bring extra lunch to share, ensuring I had a proper meal. His thoughtfulness made falling in love with him effortless. Despite our loving relationship, the only strain was his family's attitude towards me. Coming from a background of significant wealth, William's family had certain prejudices. They were initially cold. His mother barely acknowledged me, and his sister Mia gave me disdainful looks, which made me feel out of place. Despite their chilly reception, I tried to connect with them, complimenting their home and engaging in conversations about their interests. Our lives took a dramatic turn when I accidentally overheard a conversation between William and his sister Mia. They were planning to give one of our twins to my infertile sister-in-law as a birthday present. Shocked and devastated by the betrayal, I took immediate action to protect my children. I left him, filed for divorce, and relocated to a different city, ensuring the safety and well-being of my twins away from a situation where they were seen not as beloved children, but as gifts to be given away. This decision, while painful, was necessary to safeguard the future of my family from a plan that treated my children as mere objects rather than the cherished beings they are to me. Despite my lack of interest in art, William's mother's dismissive comments stung deeply during our family dinner. Throughout the evening, William would gently squeeze my hand, silently urging me to stay calm amidst the tension. His mother had arranged the seating to keep me separate from William, placing me next to his cousin Kevin, who was refreshingly open-minded and engaged me in pleasant conversation. Meanwhile, Mia and their mother hovered around William, excluding me from their discussions. At one point, Mia deliberately brought up one of William's ex-girlfriends, boasting about her current good looks and even showing William photos of her in bikinis from a recent trip. William protested, but Mia only laughed, teasing him about rekindling old flames. The situation grew increasingly awkward, and Kevin tried to intervene, only to be rebuffed by William's mother, adding to the discomfort. Thankfully, William excused us from the table under the pretense of showing me his childhood room, offering a much-needed respite from the strained atmosphere. Once there, he apologized for his sister's behavior, explaining that she had always been overly involved in his dating life, even pushing him towards her friends. His genuine remorse was apparent, and although I was upset, I accepted his apology. We decided it was best to leave soon after. As we were leaving, William's father pulled me aside. His demeanor had softened, and he confessed that despite his initial skepticism, my sincere attempts to connect with the family had impressed him. He apologized for his earlier coldness and welcomed me into their home anytime, advising me not to take the harsh words of Mia and his wife to heart. His acceptance was comforting, but I knew winning over William's sister and mother would require significant effort. Our relationship challenges continued. For my birthday, William had planned a romantic beach picnic, which I eagerly anticipated. However, that morning, Mia urgently summoned William over a fabricated crisis. I encouraged him to attend to her, believing in the urgency of her call. It turned out to be a mere prank, and she even tried to convince William to stay the day with her instead. When he refused, wanting to honor our plans, she spitefully left, showing her true intentions. This ongoing pattern of interference and the earlier dinner episode painted a clear picture of the family dynamics I was up against. Despite the hurdles, William's support and his father's eventual acceptance gave me a glimmer of hope, though I remained cautious about the challenges that lay ahead in blending into William's complex family environment. So William's sister, Mia, orchestrated a situation where William would have an excuse to skip spending the day with me. This deceitful act infuriated William to the point that he ceased all communication with her for several months. During this silent period, Mia's frustration erupted in the form of hostile texts to me, accusing me of coming between her and her brother and even making alarming threats. Naturally, I showed these messages to William, which only deepened his anger. The tension between them only began to ease around Christmas, thanks to their brother Mill's intervention. William reluctantly agreed to forgive Mia, although she never apologized to me for her threatening behavior. When Mia decided to marry her boyfriend Brian at a young age, she initially didn't want to invite me to the wedding. She suggested William attend alone and mingle with her friends. However, William stood by me and refused to attend without me, forcing Mia to begrudgingly add me to the guest list. At the wedding, I wore a long pink floor-length dress that William and I had chosen together. William complimented me on how beautiful I looked, and several guests, including Kevin, echoed his sentiments. However, Mia later accused me of trying to steal the spotlight and attract male attention, despite other guests wearing similarly elegant attire. William attempted to calm her down, explaining that wasn't our intention, but she refused to see reason, and her resentment towards me intensified. Over the years, Mia, along with Mill and my sister-in-law, continued to degrade me by mocking my appearance, making derogatory comments about my weight, and ridiculing my family background in front of others. Their relentless disdain wore on my self-esteem, and by the 4th year of my relationship with William, I decided I had endured enough. I had a candid discussion with William and chose to disengage from attending family gatherings or responding to their provocative messages, which significantly improved my mental well-being. William understood and supported my decision, even though Mill accused me of being disrespectful for distancing myself. Despite the ongoing familial resistance, William proposed to me last year in a heartfelt and meticulously planned moment. I happily accepted. When he shared the news with his family, his father offered congratulations, but his mother's response was lukewarm, hinting at her continued reservations. However, she eventually offered a reluctant congratulation, perhaps recognizing that I was here to stay in William's life. Mia's reaction to our engagement was far more volatile, underscoring the deep-seated issues that still lingered within the family dynamics. Nonetheless, with William's unwavering support, I remained committed to building a future with him, focusing on the love and respect that defined our relationship rather than the discord sown by others. After William and I announced our engagement, Mia made her disapproval abundantly clear. She insinuated to William that I was only after his money, calling me a bloodthirsty gold digger. This accusation not only hurt but also surprised William, revealing to him just how low his sister's opinion of me had sunk. In response, he told her plainly that if she couldn't support his decision to marry me, she needn't attend the wedding. Their argument escalated from there, but surprisingly, within a couple of days, Mia sent me an apologetic text. It seems she and her brother Mill might have had a conversation that led her to realize she couldn't change William's mind about us. Understanding the dynamics of his family's wealth, I told William I was willing to sign a prenuptial agreement. My intention was never his wealth. I loved him for his kindness and support. I was content with my career and financial standing and felt no need to prove anything by taking his money. William appreciated my offer, but assured me he would never ask me to sign one, knowing my sincerity. As the wedding approached, I focused on looking my best, including sharing regular workout selfies on my private social media account, which were entirely appropriate. One day, William returned from a family dinner troubled, revealing that Mia and his mother had suggested that my fitness posts were a sign of infidelity, aiming to attract other men's attention. They even insinuated that this behavior was how cheating begins. William, affected by their words, hesitantly asked if I was being unfaithful. I was shocked and hurt by the accusation, but after I firmly denied it, he apologized, realizing he'd been influenced by his sister and mother's baseless claims. During our wedding planning, tensions escalated further. Mia expressed a desire to be a bridesmaid, but I declined given her previous actions and our strained relationship. Mel then called, rebuking me for excluding Mia, arguing it would look bad to their family. She even threatened to withdraw financial support for the wedding, leveraging her contribution against my decision. I reminded her that Mia had not included me in her wedding party either. This hypocrisy did not sway Mill, but I stood firm in my decision. When I relayed these conflicts to William, he consulted with Kevin, who reassured us that the funding for our wedding was secure, as it was his contribution, and Mill had no say in it. This support from Kevin was a relief amidst the ongoing family drama, allowing us to proceed with our plans, focused on celebrating our love, free from the unnecessary constraints and pressures imposed by Mia and Mil. I can only imagine the shock on Mil's face when she realized her attempts to manipulate our wedding plans had been thwarted. Our wedding went ahead as planned, free from any further drama or meddling from Mil and her sister. William and I have since enjoyed a strong and loving relationship, but recently an unexpected development has left me feeling uncertain about the future. 5 months ago, I discovered I was pregnant with twins. William and I were overjoyed, as we had been hoping to start a family since our wedding. The news of expecting not 1, but 2 babies was like a dream come true. In his excitement, William wanted to share our joy through a family gathering, despite my preference for a quieter announcement, understanding his eagerness to celebrate becoming a father. At the party, when we announced the pregnancy, most family members were thrilled, coming over to congratulate us warmly. However, Mil and her daughter Mia reacted negatively, casting stern looks my way. Mia had married before us and had been trying to conceive for a while. I knew from William that she was struggling with infertility, a sensitive issue that made her quite emotional about her situation. Despite various suggestions from family members, including William, Brian, and Kevin, urging her to consider adoption, Mia was resistant, expressing a reluctance to adopt a child she felt was from an uncertain background. Understandably, Mia was upset during our announcement. Despite my awareness of her struggles, the public setting of the announcement seemed to exacerbate her pain. She abruptly left the gathering in tears, locking herself in the bathroom. This situation cast a pall over the celebration as William and Mil tried to coax her out. After about half an hour, Mia emerged with red, puffy eyes, confronted me directly, and expressed that I should have spoken to her privately before making such a public announcement, given her own inability to have children. I tried to explain that it was never my intention to hurt her, but she brushed off my explanation and left the party with Brian. Later, Mil criticized me, suggesting I had been insensitive. This incident has made me question the dynamics of our family relationships and how we can navigate such deeply personal and emotional challenges moving forward. I sympathize with Mia's pain as a woman and understand her feelings, but it also places me in a difficult position, balancing my happiness and the sensitivity required towards her situation. Mil criticized me after the party, accusing me of being selfish and insensitive to others' feelings. William, seeing how the event unfolded, apologized to me later and promised to clarify to Mil and Mia that the announcement was his idea, acknowledging that he had not fully considered how it might affect his sister. Despite this, I still felt a sense of remorse over Mia's situation, but William reassured me that I wasn't to blame. The following weekend, William visited his parents for dinner, a gathering I chose to skip, given my strained relations with his family. When William returned, he shared that he had apologized to Mia, who opened up about her painful journey through infertility, marked by countless medical procedures and many tearful nights. Hearing this, I felt a deep pang of guilt. Despite our past conflicts, it became clear that beneath the surface, Mia was a person in pain, deserving of empathy and understanding. Moved by this realization, I decided to reach out to Mia. I sent her a message apologizing for not informing her privately about the pregnancy before the public announcement. I expressed a desire to mend our relationship and start anew, especially with the twins on the way. To my surprise, Mia's response was warm and understanding. She thanked me for my gesture and acknowledged her part in our strained interactions. She even shared her genuine joy for my pregnancy and expressed a wish to support me during this special time in my life. Mia then offered to host a baby shower for me, a gesture that touched me deeply, especially since she mentioned she had never had the opportunity to organize one before. I accepted her offer gratefully, and in the months that followed, I noticed a significant change in both Mia and my mother-in-law's attitudes towards me. They frequently checked in on my health, sent flowers and cards with heartfelt messages, creating a newfound bond that brought us closer together. This shift not only eased past tensions, but also paved the way for a more harmonious family dynamic as we anticipated the arrival of the twins. It was incredibly jarring and somewhat unsettling to witness the dramatic shift in behavior from Mia and my mother-in-law. Until then, our relationship had been nothing short of tense, and their sudden display of affection felt completely out of character. Despite my underlying unease, I chose to view this change as a potential reconciliation effort, particularly with the twins on the way. I remained cautiously optimistic, hoping that we were indeed turning over a new leaf as a family. William continued his routine visits to his family every weekend, and on the surface, all seemed well. The day of the baby shower arrived, and I was genuinely impressed to see that Mia had taken my preferences into account while organizing the event. It was a beautiful gathering, more splendid than I had envisioned, with both friends and family, including the men, which was not typical for baby showers. Kevin even brought multiple gifts for the twins, adding to the festive spirit. The afternoon was filled with fun and games, and Mia was attentive and gracious, ensuring everything went smoothly. However, a disturbing incident occurred during the event. I excused myself to use the restroom, and as I was returning, I overheard a heated argument between William and Mill in the hallway. Their conversation was supposed to be private, and they hadn't noticed my presence. Curiosity piqued. I paused to listen, initially assuming they were discussing benign topics like baby names or nursery decorations. But as I listened more intently, a sinking feeling overwhelmed me. Mill was pressuring William about a serious matter involving our twins. She was insisting that William discuss their plan with me soon, a plan that shockingly involved giving one of our twins to Mia as a birthday present. William was trying to keep their voices down, aware of the potential for others to overhear. Mill was adamant, stating that time was running out and that William needed to man up and talk to me about it before the twins were born. She mentioned that William had already agreed to this arrangement under Mia's persistent demands, and now had no way out since Mia had been anticipating receiving a child for months. Hearing this, I was stunned and horrified. My heart pounded with a mixture of disbelief and dread as I processed the gravity of their conversation. The realization that such a plan was even being considered, and that William had seemingly agreed to it without my knowledge, struck me profoundly, shaking the very foundation of trust and partnership I thought we had built. Hearing the conversation about giving one of our twins to my sister-in-law as a birthday gift hit me like a ton of bricks. It felt like a physical blow, freezing me in place as they continued discussing their scheme as though it were perfectly normal. My mind was a whirlwind of emotions, anger, hurt, sadness, but most overwhelmingly, a sense of deep betrayal. I had believed that William, Mill, and SIL were genuinely happy about our twins, about our family growing. Now, it was painfully clear that their joy was not about our family expanding, but about their twisted plan to take one of my babies away. At that moment, I felt a profound disconnect from my husband. How could he even contemplate such a thing? Our children were not items to be gifted, they were our flesh and blood. As they wrapped up their discussion, I stayed hidden until I was sure they wouldn't see me. Shaking with a mix of fear and anger, I managed to compose myself and return to the baby shower, though inside I was falling apart. Since that day, my mind has been consumed with figuring out how to protect my twins and escape this horrifying situation. The thought of my family being so callously treated by the people who were supposed to love them most made staying an impossibility. Despite my rage and the betrayal I felt, part of me wondered if I should confront William, give him a chance to explain himself before I tore our family apart. However, the more I thought about it, the more I realized how deep the deceit must run for him to even consider such a plan without my consent. I decided I didn't need to hear any explanations that might just serve to manipulate me further. Resolved to take action, I reached out to my best friend, who was as shocked as I was to learn about William's plot with his family. She immediately offered her support and helped me plan my departure. That night was my last in the house with William. The next morning, while he was at work, with the help of my friend, I packed up everything important and left without leaving a note or any explanation. He didn't deserve one. 3 weeks have passed since I moved out. I've since filed for divorce, a heart-wrenching but necessary decision to ensure the safety and well-being of my babies and myself. This was not how I envisioned my family's future. But now, with each passing day, I grow stronger, supported by friends and ready to begin a new chapter, free from the manipulations and schemes of William and his family. Leaving my husband was a heart-wrenching decision, a moment filled with a mix of fear and resolve as I stepped out of the doors of what was once our shared home. It was a scenario I never envisioned facing, yet the need to prioritize my safety and the well-being of my unborn children made it necessary. I've since initiated divorce proceedings, even as William has reached out repeatedly, unaware that I overheard his conversation with his mother. William's messages have been accusatory, suggesting I betrayed him and affirming his family's skeptical views of me. I've chosen not to respond, knowing that any explanation I offer would likely be twisted to fit their narrative. Instead, I've blocked his sister and mother to shield myself from further manipulation, though I feel a pang of guilt for not answering Kevin's calls, unsure of his involvement in the plot. These past days have been some of the hardest of my life, filled with tears and uncertainty. Thankfully, my best friend has been a constant source of support, reassuring me that leaving was the right decision for the safety of my children. She's dispelled my fears about being a bad mother and bolstered my resolve to forge a new path for myself and my twins. Looking ahead, I plan to return to work soon after giving birth. My friend, who works from home, has graciously agreed to babysit the twins during my work hours. I insist on compensating her for her time, aware that taking care of twins is no small task. This arrangement isn't permanent, but it will support me until I can secure child support and afford a nanny. Though this journey is daunting and I sorely wish I had the support of reliable parents, I'm grateful for the encouragement I've received from so many of you during this turbulent time. Leaving my husband was a heart-wrenching decision, a moment filled with a mix of fear and resolve as I stepped out of the doors of what was once our shared home. It was a scenario I never envisioned facing, yet the need to prioritize my safety and the well-being of my unborn children made it necessary. I've since initiated divorce proceedings, even as William has reached out repeatedly, unaware that I overheard his conversation with his mother. William's messages have been accusatory, suggesting I betrayed him and affirming his family's skeptical views of me. I've chosen not to respond, knowing that any explanation I offer would likely be twisted to fit their narrative. Instead, I've blocked his sister and mother to shield myself from further manipulation, though I feel a pang of guilt for not answering Kevin's calls, unsure of his involvement in the plot. These past days have been some of the hardest of my life, filled with tears and uncertainty. Thankfully, my best friend has been a constant source of support, reassuring me that leaving was the right decision for the safety of my children. She's dispelled my fears about being a bad mother and bolstered my resolve to forge a new path for myself and my twins. Looking ahead, I plan to return to work soon after giving birth. My friend, who works from home, has graciously agreed to babysit the twins during my work hours. I insist on compensating her for her time, aware that taking care of twins is no small task. This arrangement isn't permanent, but it will support me until I can secure child support and afford a nanny. It's been 8 months since. A lot has happened. I have given birth to my beautiful twins, Jackson and Vinny. Becoming a mother has filled me with an indescribable joy and has reaffirmed my decision to provide a stable and loving environment for them. As I navigate this new chapter as a single mother, your support continues to be a pillar of strength for me. I was incredibly nervous before giving birth, but the moment I held my beautiful twins in my arms, all my fears dissipated. They became my entire world, and I knew then that I had made the right decision to distance us from what I now saw as a toxic family environment. The divorce from William was finalized shortly after, and despite his appeals, he was not granted custody. During the proceedings, he learned why I had left. He was stunned to discover I knew about his plan to give one of our children to his sister as a gift. He tried to justify his actions, claiming he was pressured by his family, but his excuses only deepened my disappointment in him. It turned out Kevin was aware of the plan and had tried, unsuccessfully, to sway the rest of the family against it. Learning this only solidified my disgust with them. Since the divorce, I haven't felt a shred of remorse for leaving William. I refused alimony, but secured substantial child support, which ensures I can provide well for our children. Mill and SIL made a dramatic scene at the divorce proceedings, accusing me of being a bad mother and selfishly keeping the twins from them. Their outburst required intervention from security and played a key part in my obtaining a restraining order against them. Since then, William has attempted to stay in contact, hoping for reconciliation, but the trust between us is irreparably broken. With the unwavering support of my best friend and a close-knit circle of friends and family, I've been navigating the challenges of single parenthood. Recently, I've decided to move out of the city to escape the lingering influence of William's family. I want a fresh start in a new place where we can live free from interference and attempts by his family to contact my children. With full custody, I have the freedom to build a new life for us elsewhere, and I'm determined to make the most of this opportunity. Moving forward, my focus will be solely on my children and our future, ensuring we have the peace and happiness we deserve.